Hey everyone, Dave from BC Bushcraft here again today. Today is the first edition of the Bushcraft tips videos from the viewers, from you guys. Um, I really appreciate all of you guys that wrote down tips. That was really awesome. There were some really good suggestions and some good tips and things like that. So if you haven't gone and read through the comments of the other video, I suggest doing that because there's a lot of tips there that are definitely good and that I'm not going to be covering today because I'm only going to cover two of them. And the two tips I decided to cover are a little bit related. I think they're good tips. They're kind of beginner-ish tips, but they're definitely something that is important to think about when you're out bushcrafting, camping, whatever. So the tips that I chose are due to cold weather, how to deal with cold weather, and some tips that you can use to help you sleep at night, whether it's a hammock or whether it's just you're sleeping on the ground type of thing. So the first tip was from a Walsh in the Woods. He's got a channel, and I'll put a link down below. He does solo overnights and stuff, and he does have a fun channel, so I suggest go check that one out. His tip was basically to heat up a liter of water in a bottle and put it in your sleeping bag before you go to bed. And I chose this tip because I've used it several times to help deal with some cold weather when I'm kind of pushing the limits of my sleeping bag and kind of the clothing that I'm bringing with me. It definitely helps heat up your sleeping bag, generate some heat outside of just yourself, keeps your feet from getting cold too, which can be a problem for some people. It's not so much a problem for me. Sometimes I'll put the hot water bottle near my body, and I think it is a really good idea to do that. Whether or not your sleeping bag is um, meant for the degrees that's going to be going down in the nighttime. Regardless, it's nice and cozy to heat up a water bottle with some boiling water, whether you like boil it in a pot and then pour it into your Nalgene, or you got a stainless steel water bottle, put it on the fire, heat it up, put it in your sleeping bag. It'll make you a nice toasty sleep for sure. And some other tips that I have as far as sleeping in a sleeping bag and it's cold out. In most sleeping bags, your head is kind of exposed a bit. So what I tend to do is I usually sleep with a hoodie on, and I like wearing this hoodie in particular when I'm sleeping. So what I'll do is I'll make sure that my hoodie is all zipped up and cinched up like this, and I'll wear a neck warmer so I can pull a neck warmer up over my mouth, and then I'll take my toque and I'll bring it over my eyes like this. So all that's really exposed is maybe my nose, and that will keep a lot of the cold air from hitting your face. And you might be warm all over your body, you might be totally fine, but if there's a chill in the air, your face it gets cold. So that's one way that I deal with that scenario. Another subscriber who has a channel, Lapel de la Nature, he does some video. I think all of his videos are in French, but some of them are subtitled, so I'd still go check out his channel. He suggested when you're doing a hammock camp, uh, when you're doing setting up your hammock, that you could get like a cheap picnic table cloth, and some of them I guess have like an aluminum side to it, which would help with reflectives. I think some of them have even a plastic side to it, which would still help to keep the wind out. And basically, you would cocoon your hammock with the picnic blanket, and it would provide another layer of insulation as well as some heat deflection as far as cold weather trying to come into your hammock and wind blowing into your hammock. Because if you guys have done a hammock camp before, when you sleep in a hammock, the hammock will compress all of your insulation, and you will also kind of feel a draft coming through. When I did my hammock camp, I felt that. I definitely felt a draft coming in through the hammock into my sleeping bag on the places where it was compressed, even when I had a sleeping pad inside of my hammock. So having something on the outside of your hammock to cocoon it will definitely create another insulation layer, as well as providing some wind protection outside. So you can do this with just a regular blanket, a wool blanket. It doesn't have to be picnic cloth, picnic table cloth, but it is a good idea if it does have a reflective side to it. It will, kind of boost that insulation value more. And if it's just the plastic side, it will keep the wind from coming in. So that also helps. So there's some tips for you guys to think about. Some other ones that I can think of just off the top of my head is that try to go to bed. When you're going to bed, don't go to bed hungry if it's cold. try to eat a power bar or a granola bar before you go to bed. The sugar in it will kind of metabolize it while you're sleeping, and it will, help heat up your bag, and you'll keep you warm at night. Things like having a hot drink too, so you're not going to bed cold as well. But don't drink too much where you have to go take a leak in the middle of the night, because that's no fun either. So there's some tips. You can put all the layer of clothing, like all the clothing that you have. The more layers you wear, the more insulation is going to be in your sleeping bag. Uh, the more air you're going to trap. So wear all your layers. You can even put another blanket inside of your sleeping bag. You can put a blanket over your sleeping bag. You can put reflectives on the ground. Put that picnic table cloth on the ground to stop the cold coming from the ground. There's a lot of different things that you can do to manage the cold weather. So I hope these tips helped you. I highly suggest you check out those two channels. And like I said, there's a lot of good other tips that you can go through on my other video and read through all of them, because there's some good tips there too. And for next week, I do need you guys to comment again. Um, I might choose some other ones from the other comments. I still haven't just written them off. But any new comments will be considered for the next week's series. So I do hope that you guys drop a comment on a tip and a suggestion that you have that has to do with bushcraft or camping or anything like that. And then I'll go through it again like before, and we'll just have a little bit of a discussion. So I hope this video helped you guys out and maybe gave you a few things to think about as far as cold weather. Anyways, this is Dave from BC Bushcraft. Please like, subscribe, comment, all those good things, and really put that comment down below about the tip that you have, and I'll try to feature it. And if not, I'll just give it the thumbs up, and any tips are more than welcome. So I hope you guys have a good day.